From the CyberHub bunker and studio, you're tuning in to the CyberHub Podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Good morning, security gang. Welcome to another episode of the CyberHub Podcast, Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024. Good morning, everyone tuning in on YouTube, Twitter, now X, LinkedIn, Twitch, Rumble, Facebook, Instagram. We don't do this show on TikTok. Sorry, can't give the content to the Chinese, not willingly at least, not voluntarily. I know it hurts my numbers a little bit, but I don't care. That's the sacrifice I'm willing to make. That's the sacrifice I'm willing to make. So there's that. So got a packed show today. Packed. A lot going on. Like literally getting ready for the show this morning was a feature. Like it did take some time. So we're going to go ahead and get the ball rolling here. But before we do that, please make sure to subscribe, follow, share. We're seeing a lot of comments here on Facebook. So on YouTube. So we'll get to those in a little bit. But yeah, a lot to talk about. So let's go ahead and get the show going. Join me for my double espresso this morning. We've got Jason here. What are you drinking, Jason? He's having his last bongo espresso with beans he got while going through Nashville. I love Nashville. I've got my Lavazza coffee here. Coffee cup cheers, y'all. When it comes to espresso, I love the Italian type of espresso. It's not sweet and it's not bitter. It's just perfect. And you don't need to add any sugar to it because it's just spot on. So there's that. Let's go ahead and start off with the Zeroday from Cisco, announcing a medium severity Zeroday vulnerability in the NXOS software that's being exploited by a China-linked cyber espionage threat actor. CVE 2024-20399 has a CVSS score of 6. However, it's a 0-day. The security defect impacts the command line interface of NXOS and could allow a local attacker to execute arbitrary commands on the underlying OS with root privileges. The vulnerability is due to insufficient validation of arguments that are passed to specific CLI commands. An attacker could exploit this vulnerability by including a crafted input as the argument of an affected configuration CLI command. All in all, they're saying that the attacker does need to be authenticated as an admin on a vulnerable device in order to exploit that, which is why they're rating it medium and not severe. It's a 0-day, right? So whether he needs it or not makes no world of difference. We all know, in case you've missed any of the last breaches, folks over at Cisco, that credential stuffing attacks and username and password attacks are pretty darn common. So don't dismiss it. Patch this immediately. CVE 203909 impacts Cisco's MDS 9000 series, Nexus 3000 series, Nexus 5500 platform, 5600 platform, 6000 series, 7000 series, and 9000 series switches. They've released firmware updates for all of those. So keep that in mind. Back to the CDK breach. Oh man, our car dealers in a world of hurt. The economic impact of this breach is going to be, it's rippling through. And I'll tell you why. I've called car dealerships just asking, like, hey, CDK shop, has it impacting you? Can't run paperwork. Everything's manual. Things take much, much longer. You can't get to customers. Customers' experience is going back 20 years. All hashtag true. So CDK, who said they'll be back up and running by June 30th, that for those who missed it, that would have been Sunday, are now saying we hope to be back online by Thursday. That's the 4th of July. Now, the 4th of July is typically a very big holiday for car dealers. Huge. 4th of July sales, people go, get a car, great prices, great deals, typically the case. Now they're saying they anticipate that all dealer connections will be live by late Wednesday, July 3rd, or early morning Thursday, July 4th. The platform used by over 15,000 car dealerships across America to run their operations, including sales, financing, inventory, service, and back office functions. Because of this specific attack here, obviously they've all been disrupted. The Black Suit ransomware group that's behind this attack has said that CDK was negotiating with them, although it's unclear whether or not a ransom was paid at this time. We'll keep you appraised to this specific situation. Enterprise software vendor HubSpot is saying they're actively investigating and blocking attempts to hack into customer accounts. and warning that at least 50 HubSpot targets have already been breached. The Cambridge, Massachusetts-based HubSpot, which sells specialized tools for sales and marketing teams, said the unidentified attackers are continuing to target a limited number of HubSpot customers and attempting to gain unauthorized access to their HubSpot accounts. Take Snowflake, put that in operational sales and marketing data, and you have the result here. As of 4 p.m. Eastern on June 28th, they've seen no new instances of unauthorized access in the last 24 hours. They've contacted all impacted customers as of right now. This isn't HubSpot's first brush with attackers targeting its customer base. In 2022, a bad actor managed to hack into an employee account and used access to export contact data from HubSpot accounts. So, all in all, around 50 accounts are compromised. You want to make sure you're one ways to just deal with this HubSpot issue and make it a non-issue. MFA, SSO. If you're a large enterprise that's using it, MFA, SSO. If you're a single individual who's using it, MFA, MFA, MFA. Really, kind of straightforward there as well. Intel Broker, the prominent member of the notorious breach forums, is allegedly leaking a trove of data stolen from Cognizant Technology Solutions, a leading multinational specializing in IT services and consulting. The alleged Cognizant data leak reportedly includes a document of 12 million lines from Cognizant's internal website and user data from the company's Oracle Insurance Policy Admin System, a cloud-based DevOps solution. According to Intel Broker, the leaked user file compromises approximately 40,000 user records containing a wide array of sensitive data fields. These fields include policy number, role code, client name, company code, state code, role, sequence number, arrangement status, start date, start years, end date, end year, draft day, modular amount, and the next premium due date. The Cyber Express team contacted Cognizant officials to verify the claims. They said they're aware of the reports and they're now investigating the matter to check its validity and extent of whether or not it's been accurate. Breach forums has been right on some and been very wrong on others. So we're going to take this. We're going to take this at face value of saying until Cognizant confirms it, we're going to treat it as a potential blackmailed type of issue there. And by the way, another reason they do this, just so y'all know, from an economic impact, if you're trying to explain it to the business of why this stuff really does happen, specifically they'll short stocks, especially with the new SEC reporting rules. You've got 4 days to essentially report to the SEC if you've got a material breach or not. So if you short the stock, if you take a put option on the stock, and you leak this, and then you allow the stock market to do what it does, where typically a stock will drop 5 to 10% after a breach, then by all means you've made yourself a bucket of money without having to really do anything. Just post this. So keep that in mind as you're game planning. This one had me wondering if I should start with this or put it in midway, but I'm going to put it midway. A new East European threat actor dubbed Unfurling Hemlock is using the cyber equivalent of a cluster bomb to drop up to 10 different unique malware files at the same time on systems belonging to individuals in the US, Germany, Russia, and other multiple countries. The attacker's approach essentially involves using compressed Microsoft cabinet files nested within other CAP files, sometimes as many as 7, to distribute a variety of information stealers and malware loaders on a victim system. Since at least February of last year, the adversary has distributed hundreds of thousands of malware files this way on systems belonging to some 50,000 users worldwide. This is according to researchers at Outpost 24. The malware used includes information stealers like Mystic Stealer, Rise Pro, and Redline, and loaders like Smoke Loader and Amaday. Kraken Labs analysis suggested the Unfurling Hemlock has distributed at least some of the malware and loaders on behalf of other threat groups, while at the same time it is also used in other groups to help distribute its own cluster bombs. Again, the decentralization of cybercrime, the affiliate framework that works within the cybercrime world leads to these types of effects where rather than it being singulared through one threat group, it's really shared among dozens and dozens of them. And so in a way that's effective for defenders because you know where it's coming from. In another way, you don't know the end goal, right? One threat actor, one end goal. However, here you don't know the role they're playing. Are they the initial access broker? Are they the malware distributor? What part of the kill chain are they on? You don't really always know. And you also don't know who's behind it, which creates more uncertainty. Outpost 24 uncovered the campaign when investigating reports by other researchers, including those at McAfee on attacks last year, where threat actors deployed numerous malware samples at once on compromised systems. Their analysis showed multiple similarities between the different attacks that allowed it to conclude a single actor was behind them all. The group's likely located in Eastern Europe based on the use of Russian language in some malware samples, although that's not really, I mean, if you're in a decentralized cybercrime, you can have multiple languages on there. So just because you have Russian doesn't mean it's Russian, or it could be Ukrainian. They speak Russian in Ukraine, they speak Russian in Moldova, they speak Russian in Georgia, they speak Russian in a whole slew of former USSR countries. And while they may still have their own languages, a lot of the stuff they do online is very similar to how English is used across Europe and North America and South America. It's kind of like the primary language. So Russian is that for Eastern Europe and parts of Asia. So, kind of take that with a grain of salt of whether or not this is Russian or even Eastern European. It could be otherwise. So they're not very complex. They don't show a high degree of sophistication, but they are cluster bombs. What they're designed to do is inflict as much damage and provide as much success as humanly possible. Testing with how the way they're testing right now seems like they're trying to perfect the technique for obfuscation and anti-analysis. They're doing it across not high value targets in order to really perfect it so that when they do it on a high value target, it does have an impact there as well. Moving on to modern Intel processors, including chips from the Raptor Lake and Elder Lake generations, are susceptible to a new type of high precision branch target injection attack dubbed indirector, which could be used to steal sensitive information from the CPU. This indirect branch predictor is designed to predict the target addresses of indirect branches using historical execution information, while the branch target buffer predicts the target addresses of direct branches using a set associative cache structure. Based on the above, indirector performs attacks mainly using three mechanisms: the iBranch locator, the IBP BTB injections, and ASLR bypass. All in all, mitigating these attacks, the researchers propose two primary mitigations against the indirector attack: more aggressive use of indirect branch predictor barrier and bolstering the branch prediction unit design, adding more complex tags, encryption, and randomization, all which be very, very helpful. To encourage people to find more security holes in open source kernel-based VMs, hypervisors, the KVMs, Google's launching a vulnerability reward program where the top prize is $250,000. The VRP is set up as a capture of the flag contest where testers log in as a guest and attempts to find a zero-day vulnerability in the KVM host kernel. This open source project, to which Google's an active contributor, has been included in mainline Linux since 2007. So all in all, we'll see what happens there. Let your red teamers know. Have them go get some money. Life insurance and company Landmark admin is sending notifications to an unknown number of individuals about a data breach impacting personal, medical, and insurance information. They say they detected an incident on May 13th, found evidence that attackers accessed specific files containing information like name, addresses, dates of birth, social security numbers, driver's license number, passport numbers, financial account information, tax ID information, medical information, health insurance policy numbers, and life and annuity policy information. The number of victims is still unknown. We'll keep you appraised as this continues to go on. Indonesia's communication minister is facing pressure to resign following the cyber attack on its national data center. A petition urging Budi Ari Sidiati is growing, with about 18,000 Indonesians signing it since it launched last week. That's not a lot in a country of, I think, 80 or 90 million in Indonesia. That's not even representing a valuable percentage. That's a rounding error. The petition was launched on change.org and sent to the Indonesia communication manager. You should resign because of a cyber attack. I don't think he should, mainly because the attack came from the Brain Cipher ransomware operation. This was their big hit. Indonesia is building out national data centers to securely store servers used by the government and online services for data hosting. Their data center was attacked. Who is Brain Cipher? All in all, they're a new ransomware operation conducting attacks on organizations worldwide. Again, Bleeping Computer is aware of numerous samples of Brain Cipher ransomware uploaded to various malware sharing sites over the last 2 weeks. These samples were created using the leaked Lockbit 3.0 builder. Again, kind of growing from there. And you can kind of see a whole lot more about them in the show notes. I want to make sure of that. So you can check all of that out in the show notes. You can also check out our Substack, jamesazar.substack.com, where we put all of the links. Everything's always available there. That's it for our show today. We'll be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, live here with all the latest and greatest. If you have any questions, any concerns, any stories, I know Jason here's done a bunch. Yeah, on the Federal Reserve one, the Federal Reserve was not hacked. Evolve Bank and Trust was. It was a misleading statement. Essentially, they the full details are not there. From what I've heard from people who are familiar with the scenario, they were able to access the information sharing portal that was set up by the Federal Reserve and Evolve Bank and Trust as part of the audit. And that's how they got the data. So that's not confirmed yet. We'll see if that comes out. But there's that there as well, Jason. So thank you so much for tuning in, y'all. Have a great rest of your day. And most importantly, stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.